With age comes not only external changes and a slower pace of life, but also a priceless wealth of wisdom, rich experience, and proof of the ability to survive. An elderly person has gone through trials that the younger generation can hardly imagine. However, despite this, society's attitude towards older people often changes. With age, one increasingly encounters certain questions that, at first glance, may seem harmless, but in reality, harbor hidden dangers. They all have one thing in common. They put a person in a vulnerable position, provoking revelations that can be used against them. This is not just curiosity, but a kind of test of strength. Such questions help identify those who sincerely respect and those who pursue selfish goals. With age comes the understanding of the need to maintain composure and resilience. This is not about anger or rudeness, but about steadfastness, about the ability not to make excuses or give explanations. It is at the moment when a person stops. Answering certain questions that a sense of control and self-confidence returns. There are questions that are best kept silent about in adulthood. The first of these is, how much money do you have? This question is never asked out of simple curiosity. As soon as those around you learn about a person's financial situation, they begin to make plans and expectations related to their funds. At first, the question is asked as if inadvertently, and then the person turns into a personal bank. Requests begin to borrow money with promises to return it, which for some reason are never fulfilled. If you say that there is little money, it will cause pity. If you admit wealth, it can breed envy, or worse, the desire to take advantage of the situation. And as soon as you lend money once, requests will pour in again and again. That is why financial matters should remain strictly confidential. The person has worked hard to earn their savings, and they belong only to them, neither friends nor... Even the closest people should know about it. It is best to evade the answer, brush it off, or change the subject, maintaining an aura of mystery. The less those around you know, the less opportunity they have to encroach on someone else's funds. Finances are a personal matter for everyone. The second question that often arises in communication is, who will get your savings? Often this question is dictated not by genuine interest, but by a desire to control the situation. Those who ask are eager to know if they are included in the will, and if the answer is no, their behavior may change dramatically. At first, they may show indifference, show care, pay attention, and say pleasant things. However, do not be fooled. This is not a manifestation of love, but rather an investment in the future. And as soon as it becomes clear that the expected dividends will not be received, these people disappear as suddenly as they appeared. That is why your last orders should be based on your own values, not on someone else's expectations. Your finances are solely your choice, period. How should you answer the question of who you plan to leave your money to? Avoid specifics, explanations, and any details that could become grounds for manipulation. The less information those around you have, the less opportunity they have to build insidious plans. Your plans regarding inheritance should remain your personal secret. The third question that may sound is, why don't your children visit you more often? At first glance, this question seems harmless, but often it carries hidden condemnation. It raises doubts and makes you wonder, have you made mistakes in raising your children? Have you done something wrong? However, the reality is that family relationships are rarely simple and unambiguous. Sometimes the distance is due to life circumstances, but sometimes it is a conscious choice. The bitter truth is that some children, when they grow up, forget about those who raised them. But regardless of the reasons, this only concerns you and your children, and that is why you should not answer this question with excuses or explanations. You don't owe anyone a report on your personal life. Instead, give a simple and confident answer and then change the subject. After all, the more you make excuses, the more you provoke curiosity, and the less you say, the better you protect your peace of mind. Your family life is your personal business, and no one has the right to interfere in it. The fourth question, often heard in conversations, seems innocent. How old are you? However, behind this simple phrase lies a deep meaning. Age in different cultures plays a defining role in shaping attitudes towards a person. As soon as the cherished number is uttered, those around you begin to make assumptions and attach labels. A common misconception is that as people age, they lose their ability to be productive and make independent decisions, and most sadly, they stop being listened to. Thus, the question about age ceases to be a harmless expression of curiosity and turns into a tool of control, an attempt to define a person's place within predetermined boundaries. The fifth question, no less common, is, are you seeing anyone? At first glance, it seems simple and harmless, but it always hides a hidden expectation and judgment. If you answer in the affirmative, you can't avoid judgmental glances and questions like, isn't it too early? Or, shouldn't you focus on family? If the answer is negative, then in the eyes of the interlocutors, there is pity. Oh, you must be so lonely. In any case, it's everyone's personal matter, not subject to discussion or condemnation. It's important to remember that happiness doesn't need approval from others. There are no age restrictions for love, and the absence of a partner doesn't make a person incomplete. Personal life is a territory that no one has the right to invade. There is an opinion that retirement automatically imposes obligations. Some believe that a retiree is obliged to devote themselves entirely to the needs of others, whether it's looking after grandchildren, fulfilling all sorts of errands, or being a reliable helper. At the same time, their own interests and needs fade into the background. However, it's important to remember, the years of labor and care are already behind you. Raising children, working hard, and making numerous sacrifices for the well-being of others, all this has already happened. Retirement isn't the beginning of a new servitude, but a well-deserved right to rest and freedom to dispose of your time as you see fit. No one has the right to dictate how these years should be spent. Another sensitive question that is often asked to older people is, what is the worst thing you have done in your life? Often, this question hides not simple curiosity, but a desire for condemnation. The questioner is eager to hear about past mistakes, regrets, and dark sides of life. And as soon as these revelations are received, they remain forever in the memory of the interlocutor, ready to use them against you in the future. It's important to remember that the past is a stage that should be left behind. No one is obliged to confess their sins to others. In response to such a question, you can smile and say, there were many things in my life, but some things are best left in the past, and watch how quickly interest in this topic fades. The past is a personal space that isn't intended for public viewing. Over time, the aging process ceases to be associated with relentless battles and turns into an art of conscious choice, which battles are worth entering and which deserve only noble silence. After all, silence isn't a sign of weakness, but rather evidence of maturity and wisdom. It means that a person no longer spends precious energy on fruitless explanations to those who don't deserve even a fraction of attention. It's the understanding that not every idle curiosity should be satisfied. The more a person delves into explanations, the more people want to interrogate them with prejudice. The more persistently they try to justify their decisions, the more judges are ready to pass a harsh sentence. But at the moment when a person chooses silence, opponents simply have no arguments to argue with. Their life, their decisions, their personal space, this is an inviolable territory closed to curious relatives, greedy heirs, and hunters for scandalous stories. There are questions that don't deserve answers, and people who aren't worthy of access to innermost thoughts. Therefore, entering the age of maturity, it's important to remember, with age comes the ability to maintain composure while remaining away from malice and rudeness, but showing unwavering firmness. It's necessary to carefully protect your inner peace and energy, and most importantly, never answer questions that aim to trap you. After all, peace of mind is a priceless gift that should be protected by silence.